do about the Prime Minister, and I think he's had a very rough time. I think the mainstream media have conducted a witch hunt, and it's been very unedifying to see. I think they should leave Boris to get on with the job. And the one thing I would say in all of this, don't let the mainstream media decide who runs this country, because that's what they're doing. Hold on, let Boris get on with the job, and let's see where we go from here. But don't let the mainstream media decide. It's been ridiculous.
Robert, what would you say to Linda?
I think Boris Johnson has done some good things. First of all, he prevented Corbyn coming to power. That was a relief for the whole nation. He's had to fight the Brexit proposals through with a lot of opposition. He's led the charge of dealing with the COVID crisis, again, against many difficult decisions. And now he's revered in Ukraine because he's giving great support there to that country. But what we can't have is this continual waking up every day and finding out somebody else has been found out, and politicians being sent out to defend him, often given the wrong briefs. This is making his supporters a laughingstock.
Well, Robert, while you're there, I mean, in the studio, I'm accompanied by Lord Moylan, who has worked with Boris Johnson, very pro Boris Johnson. Norman Baker, who has big doubts and thinks it's time for Boris Johnson to go. So, Lord Moylan, first of all, could you speak to Robert and tell him why you think your man should stay?
All right. Well, first of all, my policy is the voters are always right. So I'm not here to argue with Linda and Robert, and I hear what they say, and I think it's very important to hear what they say. I entirely agree with Linda. Robert, I think you've made some very good points about the progress Boris has made on all the big things and being really in the right place and steering the country forward. And I agree with you. It is very disappointing when some of these things come out, and Boris has apologised, that when some of these things come out and you see errors of judgment and then you see people being wrongly briefed and the story comes out wrong and then everyone says everyone's lying and they're all confused, and that needs sorting out. And I thought we had sorted that out, and it shouldn't be happening. So I agree with you entirely about that. But you're right about the big things, the big calls Boris has got right, and that I think he's leading the country in the right direction.
But, Robert, is your mind made up?
Yes, it is at the moment. There's something else as well. Speaking to people who've been dealing with ministers in the past and recently, there seems to be an air of born to rule coming through this government. That is not good. We want people who are there on merit, thinking people, taking the big decisions.
OK. Let's go to Norman Baker. Norman, would you speak to Linda? Linda talks about what she terms the mainstream media. Where do you trust anybody for your news, Linda?
No, I certainly don't trust the newspapers. I don't trust the BBC. I don't trust the mainstream media in general. The journalistic code insists that what is printed has to be fact and not opinion. But every day we find people's opinion is taking precedence over actual fact. Just the other day, Twitter is not real life, I know that, but just the other day I saw on Twitter that GBNews had said that every member of the Conservative Party wants Boris to resign. Now, that's simply not true. I'm a member. Nobody's asked me.
OK, let's hear from Norman.
Well, morning, Linda. I think it's disappointing in a way and worrying that you feel that about what you call the mainstream media, because we have in this country a diverse media, which has got many different owners of the newspapers. There's a requirement for balance, which is enforced upon the broadcasters like GBNews or the BBC, to make sure that all voices are heard. I don't particularly think the media there's a problem here. You know, I mean, let's face the fact that we've had 41%, I think it was, of Conservative MPs themselves voting no confidence in the Prime Minister. That was their view. We've had ministers in the last couple of days resigned. The Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Health Secretary have resigned. So this isn't the media. This is actually the Conservative Party that's unhappy with the Prime Minister to a large degree. I appreciate you aren't, but a lot of Conservatives appear to be. And the opinion polls certainly suggest that he's lost confidence in the nation as a whole.
Over to you, Linda.
Yes, I understand your point, but I think a lot of it is driven by the mainstream media, and it's all right saying about free speech and that sort of thing, but there is a left-wing cabal in this country that wants to see Boris Johnson out. They know that they can't beat him in an election, and this is the only way that they feel that they can get rid of him.
Linda, do you think he's going to survive?
I do. I think it's going to be rocky. I think it's going to be very hard over the next few days, perhaps even the next few weeks. I don't think there'll be a general election, not just yet. Rishi Sunak resigning, I think, is an opportunity now, because I know Boris wanted tax cuts and Rishi didn't. So to Boris, I would say, as your boss, I'd like to see tax cuts. I'd like to see the abolition of the green levy. I'd like to see help for small businesses. I'd like to see something done about fuel duty. And a real hobby horse of mine, let's have more grammar schools in lower income areas, and let's get this country back on its feet.